Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Hope you're having a great week. And today we are tackling more of your listener questions. Ricky and Pam both join me. We talk about the free water park perk that is happening right now down at Walt Disney World and how excited we are that both water parks will be opening this summer. We also talk about the best deluxe resorts for 4 adults and an infant coming down to Walt Disney World here soon. The best eats around Flower and Garden Festival over at Epcot, and how we need to maybe look at the changes coming to Frontierland from a thematic point of view as uber Disney fans. Great conversation there. Also, Mother's Day events. How do you find out about those? Coming up here soon. This and much more on today's show. Don't forget, today's podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make all these shows possible. I can't thank you enough for that. You can support us as well. It's just $5 a month. It's a cup of coffee a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd sure love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2671 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week. And I promise you this, no spoilers here on today's show. It's going to be epic, but no spoilers because I have no idea what any of that stuff is. I'm just an old dude that is a Disney fan. So when I saw that little dog that looked like Stitch, I'm like, dude, is he toothless? It looks like he has teeth to me.
That's not a dog. That's a dragon.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. He looks like Stitch, and he's like barking. I don't know what's he doing. I don't know what the handlers do. I don't know what any of that stuff is. I just know it looks pretty. I mean, they got a lot. I like the big lake with the fountains. Hey, I mean, looks like old Future World. I mean, that's looking good to me. I like it at night. It's beautiful, gorgeous. Sign me up. I mean, I'm all about ambiance. I'm ready. Let's go. But I don't know what the toothless is. It looks like he has teeth to me. So let's go. But no spoilers here. That's as far as we're going. So today, neither here nor there, we're going to be answering your listener questions. I just like to get in Ricky's crawl with this stuff because I know she's a big, epic fan here. So we are going to be talking Disney, having a good time, trying to put a smile on her face. Tough day for her. So Ricky's here from themouseforless.com, but more importantly, a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com. Focus on Disney. We have Ricky. Ricky, happy Wednesday. What's up?
Yeah, so you are right. Rough day here. We are unfortunately saying goodbye to our cat, Professor Snape, today. So rough day. But I'm here and I need a little smile on my face, so I thought I'd talk to you guys. So that's why I'm here. But I would like to share that if you would like some spoilers about Epic Universe, I will be sharing those this week. So, in a way, I definitely will be talking about the park, and so I think I'm gonna try to do a live on Wednesday, actually. So stay tuned to a Disney World After All, my socials. I'm gonna probably do it on YouTube. So if you want to find out some spoilers about Epic Universe or hear some of my thoughts or ask questions, I would be happy to answer anything I can. I will be doing that on Wednesday, probably Wednesday evening. So stay tuned to my socials and I will post on there. Again, it'll probably be on YouTube first and then I'll transfer it over to the other social spots, but I'll probably do it live on YouTube. So yeah, that's the plan anyway.
Stay tuned is what the keywords are there. Stay tuned on today, on Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah, today, Wednesday.
As this releases. All right, Pam Forster joining us. She's the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Pam Forster, happy Wednesday to you. My Cardinals in Pittsburgh this week. What's going on?
Oh, really? So there's always a big write-up, in the Pittsburgh News about how the owner of the Pirates doesn't put any money into the team and whatnot. And we like get a great turnout because we have a beautiful, beautiful stadium. And at the beginning of the season, we get a great turnout. But then as it, gets toward the end of the season where we see how things are going, not always so great. So I actually just read that in the last week. But anyways, the weather here is not so great either. So I don't know.
Did you hear the controversy at your stadium? Which I'm all about this. They took that. So in right field, and your stadium is gorgeous. They took that. They have a 21-foot wall in right field for Roberto Clemente. They're probably one of the greatest ambassadors of the game of baseball ever. Great humanitarian, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. I wore number 21 through my entire career. Not for many reasons. Roger Clemens, my grandparents were both born in 21. A lot of reasons, but Clemente too. They put like a I don't even know what it was, like a beer or something advertisement on top of his like the wall there. Come on now, they got to change. They're catching heat, so I bet you that's back quick.
They are catching heat. It's going to go back up. But I will say that sign, from what I've read, has only been there a little bit. There's actually a huge statue of Clemente.
Yes. But I mean, come on now, read the room. Let's go now, because I mean, Clemente is like I'm not even a Pittsburgh fan, right? But I mean, he's an icon, right? I mean, in St. Louis,
he is.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I saw that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what person in promotions decided this was all right? Like, they're not a baseball fan. They're very young and they don't understand like the history of the game. Like,
I know, dude, right? It just doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah. I don't know, but anyways, yes, it's already been. They realized their error, and we're like, oops, sorry about that.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I'm like, you can't do that. It's like, let's go.
I know.
All right.
There's a few things you can't do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh man, it's a 21-foot wall. Clemente was like, he's probably the great, one of the great. It's like, it's like in St. Louis if we did something for Stan Musial. Like, he took his, because we have a statue outside. Like, that's where we meet. Like, I mean, it's just like a St. Louis tradition. When you go to the Cardinals game, if you want to meet with your friends, you're like, okay, meet at the man, because Stan the man. You meet out there, and that's like the place you go. Anyway, let's answer a question. Len is asking, he said, might be too early for this, but can you recommend any not to miss food items from the flower and garden booth? So he's going to flower and garden. I haven't been, so what not to miss?
I very much enjoyed it's Beach Grub. There is a s'mores bar.
Oh, stop.
And
dude,
the
s'mores,
it's
and by the
so
way,
good.
S'mores Blizzard's back at DQ.
Ah, there we go. See, I'm more partial to the oh my gosh. Now I lost it. Never mind. French silk pie. That's the one I'm partial to. But anyway, yeah, that one's good. So the s'mores bar is really good. I very much enjoyed that. And of course, a classic is always the corn on the cob. Again, that one is also at Beach Grub. I spent a lot of time at Beach Grub, not gonna lie. It was really good. So the other one that is my favorite is one that's not there anymore. And it's the risotto with the scallops, which is gone. I've had from the Northern Bloom booth before. They have scallops there as well. They weren't as good as the ones from the booth that food, but those were good. And they have a dessert at that booth too that I didn't get this time, but will the next time because I remember it being very good as well. And that's the Northern Bloom booth. So those were both very good. I very much enjoyed the Beach Grub, just the entirety of the booth. It was just my favorite food pretty much out of all of it. So
you like beach, you like grub. I mean,
exactly.
Put those two together sounds pretty good. Yeah, everything you said, I think I'd like. You definitely into scallops too. I mean,
I love scallops. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Girl from Missouri likes her scallops. Interesting.
I do. I love them.
What about you, Pam? Anything flower and gardenish?
Yes, there's a couple. So I always love the Brunch Cot booth because they have avocado toast, which is really good and beautiful. I mean, they put this together beautifully, but they also have like fried cinnamon roll bites that have like
those are
bacon
so
on
good
them.
too. Yes,
so good. But one of the more unique things there is they have this fruit. They call it a fruit cereal shake, but it's really Fruit Loop shake.
Oh, let's go.
It is so good. It's definitely worth checking out. And then I always love the Honey Bistro too. They have chicken and waffles. They have a honey glazed cauliflower, which is so good. And then they usually have like a dessert that has peaches and stuff like that in it. There's just like some really yummy things. So stop by there. But I think Flower and Garden, it's so hard because when I'm past one festival, I start, we're into the next one and I'm like, oh, I really like this one too.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I'm like, oh, Festival of the Arts, it's the best. And then Flower and
Yeah,
Garden comes. I'm like,
it's the
Flower and Garden,
best.
it's the best. Then Food and Wine, it's the best. And then the holiday one comes, it's the best. So
Yeah,
they're all
it's
the
true.
best.
They're all the best.
That's
Yeah.
very much my MO with my hotel. Like, I get back, I'm like, oh man, you guys stay at this hotel. It's the very best on property.
Right.
Just got back from sports. It's the best hotel. It beats Grand Floridian. It's just the coolest. It's got these big icons, it's got this cool pool. It's got like a backstop. That's just how I am. I get excited. Michael Dolan over on Facebook says the Cuban sandwich is great. S'mores bar is excellent. Avocado toast is the bomb.com.
See, we named 2 of those things
I
right
know.
there.
And he used the bomb.com reference, which I like.
love it.
Going back in time there. That's pretty sweet. And Len is going to be down there in 4 days. So a big family trip. We wish him the best. He's been looking forward to this
have a great
forever. So
time.
have a great time with the fam. It's going to be fun. Paul, he has an observation, and we haven't talked about this. Let me pull that down there because it's over Pam's face there. It says, not a question, but an observation. Not sure if you mentioned it all. Blizzard Beach hit capacity on Saturday, and they turned people away. I was on the bus when it got to Animal Kingdom, and they were doing the transfers, and the line for that bus was back to the Animal Kingdom entrance. I just stayed on the bus and went back to the resort. Later, I heard another guest got turned away. So now, in May, we're going to have this summer, but the good news is we're going to have Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon both open, which
We are.
I think this is why, because
I'm thinking
I want
so.
to have this conversation real quick, 5 minutes or less, but I wonder if Disney did not expect so many guests to take advantage of this check-in day water park, addition that you can. And I like it because it's a great perk to staying on site and people are using it. And I love that people are using it, but I think that more guests are using it maybe than expected, possibly.
Did I not call it though? I said like I think this is going to be more popular than they think it's going to be, and I think a lot of people scoffed at me because like they were like, "No, people don't want to go to the water park on their first day. That it won't be, And I was hoping that they would be so popular that they would have to open up both water parks. So I'm so glad to see that this is happening because both water parks deserve to be open. And this is, again, it's such a great perk. And I'm so glad to hear that people are taking advantage of it because getting the opportunity to go to the water park is A, so much fun. And B, it means that the water parks get to be open. So, I mean, yeah, it's only for the summer, but still, it's been since 2019 since both water parks have been open. So it is time, and I'm so happy to see it.
So I had heard varying things on this, but Paul, do you know, were you using the water park that came with the option that came with the resort stay? Because if I heard that then they were letting people go another day throughout their stay. Like, for instance, if it's raining and the water park is closed, they actually automatically do it so that you can have another water park admission.
Oh, that's nice.
Throughout your stay.
That's good.
So,
that's
but
good.
I've heard varying things on this, so I wanted to hear that. But it actually isn't reactive, it is proactive on Disney's part. They usually will put it in there and you can use it at some other point throughout your stay. So
yeah. And Andrew says Saturday morning there was a line of cars waiting to get into the parking lot at Blizzard Beach. I mean, it is one of those things that I hear that the weekends are, super busy at the water parks. Locals come out, want to go to the water parks.
Yeah, because you have to remember, it's not just a perk for
Everybody,
the water parks aren't
wanna
just
go to the
for
water
the
parks.
guests staying at
Exactly.
the resort.
Yes.
Anybody can go. So yeah, you have mixed that nice perk with actually people who have bought tickets for the park, and it's getting crowded for sure. Which I mean, obviously, if it's closing the capacity, so
Right. And Michael again says, Michael Dolan over on Facebook, we went to the Blizzard Beach for the first time last month because of this perk. We had a blast, and we'll be returning because of this. And
yeah,
I think this is going to be a lot of folks' first taste of the water parks, because I think because again, like I haven't gone to the water parks in a decade, but when you ask Paige, Paige is 28, right? Back in the day of the Ultimate Park Hopper ticket, we went to the water parks every vacation multiple times in a week. Like we would go, not daily, but I bet you we went to because remember back in those days, both water parks were open every day. And we would probably go every other day to either Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon for like 2 or 3 hours because it was just part of your ticket. You didn't have to, the Ultimate Park Hopper ticket had water parks in there automatically. You didn't have to add on. You didn't have to buy it. You had everything included. So like when I look back at our pictures of her growing up when we went to Disney, like, here she is going down Summit Plummet. Here we are over at Typhoon Lagoon in the big, with Miss Tilly behind us. And it was just a part of it. But I think when you had to add it on, people just kind of said, well, that's something we might not want to add on, and didn't do it. But I think now with this perk that people are getting exposed, hey, these water parks are a ton of fun. You know what? I mean, just going over for that little taste, like, hey, we might add that option to our tickets next time around, because it is a fun experience to get over there. It's a way to kind of have a relaxing day, but a very fun day, Pam. I think this is smart by Disney, but it does take a little logistics, because you have to arrive early enough to make it make sense, right? You either have to leave, you got to make it where you drive in to where you get there early enough, or the flights have to work out just right. Or you got to maybe check in, maybe do a split stay if you do like a split to where it could work out. There's logistically, you got to make it happen.
You do. And we've had a lot of guests actually add another night on to the beginning of their stay just to take advantage of that. Like, they didn't want to take away any days from what they knew they wanted to do in the park, but they were like, you know what? We're going to do a night, and it could be a night. Some people are saying, I'm going to take this opportunity to upgrade to a resort that I know we're not going to stay at for the whole week, but I really want to experience it once. So we're going to add a night on. We're going to stay at that resort I've always wanted to stay at, and we're going to take advantage of the water park thing. And then tomorrow we'll check into our hotel where we're staying for the rest of the week and all that. So I think it's a great strategy. I think it's also smart. Like, one of the things we know, like, the flights down are getting expensive. So if you're going to be there, be there. And if you know what I mean, it doesn't cost you any more to add on a day. And oftentimes you may be able to find a less expensive flight if you're going to come down a Friday instead of a Saturday or whatnot. So look at that and do that. So.
Yep. And one of my guests over the Magic for Less, Matt, says we're doing a one-night stay in July at Pop just so we can get the free water park stay. It was cheaper to do one night at Pop than to add the water park tickets part of our 3-day pass. Yeah, I mean, if you got enough people in the room, you know what I'm saying?
Nice. Yeah, that's a great perk.
Math it, like let the math do the math. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's how it works. Is Disney fans, that's kind of what we do, right? Crunch the numbers and see, sometimes one discount works better than the other. If like you're a plant, like if you have kids and you're going to be doing character dining, sometimes free dining is just a steal for you. But sometimes if you're a family that doesn't like to do a lot of sit down dining, the ticket offer is going to be where you go, let the math do the math for you. And that's kind of, I think that's why we all kind of listen to these podcasts. That's why we are like kind of have this all in common, that we kind of enjoy this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, we like to math the math. That's why we get to do this. So.
Exactly. Let's see here. Fun question over on Instagram from, well, I can't tell because of the Instagram handle. Sarhar. Sorry, I can't. The Instagram handles get me every time. But will Walt Disney World ever get a season of the Force like Disneyland does? Because tell me that stuff wasn't cool that we saw out there, like with the fireworks, the projections on the mountains of the AT-ATs and stuff like that. That stuff is pretty cool. Will they ever do that in Galaxy's Edge? Because it's a clone, right? I mean, the lands are exactly the same. Why can't we get that in the studios?
So because we have like Star Wars Day, we sort of celebrate that. I think that Disneyland has more of a motivation to offer these limited time events because they're really trying to pull in their local crowd.
Locals. I know, but
I know it's the locals.
I know.
Blame the locals.
Cool.
I mean, it would be great to see. I mean, remember, of course, obviously to a much smaller scale. Well, it was a larger scale than what a season of the Force is, but the Star Wars weekends were such a huge thing at Walt Disney World. So, it would be great to see Season of the Force, something like that, come to Walt Disney World. The only thing is there's kind of two areas for Star Wars at Disneyland, obviously. So you've got Star Wars Land, and then you've also got, in some regards, Tomorrowland, which of course that's not in Disney's Hollywood Studios. So it makes it a little, I guess, less enticing for Walt Disney World to do it, in my opinion, just because there's two areas where guests can go for Star Wars, mania over there. But I would love to see, some of the aspects come. And, one of the other things is, of course, like at Disneyland, they've got the fireworks, which means that they can take advantage of the fireworks in Star Wars land. So, which they can't necessarily do, I don't think, in Walt Disney World's version. So that's kind of still do like I feel like they could still do the projection show and do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think there are pieces that I would like to see them kind of bring over. Obviously the food, the popcorn buckets, and all that kind of stuff would be huge. But I don't think they're gonna do it. I would love to see them do it, but and that's from someone who's not a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, it's cool.
But I don't think they're gonna. So yeah.
Kind of a tangent to that. For somebody that's always, like you're based, like you're the Disney theme parks fan that's based from Walt Disney World, like I was, and then made the transition to Disneyland. The Disneyland fireworks experience is like you're going from like checkers to chess when you go to Disneyland fireworks, because you can watch the fireworks from so many different places at Disneyland, right? I mean, when they do their projections, because you can watch them on Main Street, you can watch them on Small World, like when they do special fireworks shows. You can watch them in Galaxy's Edge, because with these kind of fireworks, like it's a different experience sometimes when they're not even doing it. Like you get a different perspective on things. You don't really get that at World. Like you really want to see them in front of the castle or Main Street. It's basically the same show, but like a lot of shows, you can like see 5 different experiences, like depending on where you are in Disneyland. Like a lot of shows, it's really kind of weird.
That's true. That's very true.
You got to kind of move around throughout your trip to kind of see what's going on. All right, a question here from, I just lost it. Things are moving quickly. Mike moved his finger. Nicole, she says over on Facebook, what's the best resort to stay at for 5 guests, 4 adults, and 1 child who's 2? So big old group there. Oh, no, it's 4 adults and a 2-year-old. Kind of depends on what you're looking at. You can really stay anywhere, but give us more information, Nicole. But what would you say? So you got 4 adults. So the 2-year-old, here's the one thing. I mean, I'll tell you this off the bat. This is what I'm thinking as a travel agent when I'm helping guests. The 2-year-old does not count against your guest count. So when you're looking technically, you can get in any room because 2-year-old does not count against your guest count. So you could still get in. Now, you got to think about comfort level, right?
Yes.
4 adults in a room, a value room, is going to be tight, but it can be done. I mean, if you're going down for like a quick weekend and you just want to be in the theme parks the entire time, you're looking economy, you can do a Pop Century room and you're going to be on the Skyliner and get to the Epcot and the studios quickly. That can happen. Would I recommend 4 adults and a 2-year-old in a Pop Century room? Probably not. It's going to be tight. Super, 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 super tight. Did I say enough supers? You're going to want more space. But it'd be a fun trip report on a Wednesday if you ever want to come on the show. I'm just saying, I mean, what advice would you give, Pam, if somebody came to you with 4 adults and a 2-year-old, like just in general, because we don't have more information yet?
Well, so I think there's a lot of things that play into it. How many beds are you ultimately looking
There you
for?
go. Let's go with that.
Because we even have people who come to us and they're like a family of 4, 2 adults and their kids, but they need at least 3 beds. So all the deluxes except for Wilderness Lodge and Animal Kingdom Lodge can accommodate up to 5 adults in their standard room. And most of the time that is done with 2 beds and then a day bed or a trundle or something like that. Some of the deluxe villas, some of the studios can accommodate 5, some of the 1 bedrooms can accommodate 5, and some are really looking more like 4. So that's something to consider. In your moderate category, you have both Caribbean Beach and Port Orleans Riverside that have rooms that can accommodate 5 with that pull down bed in there. And then at the value resorts, you're going to want to look at perhaps 2 rooms, or you could do one of the family suites there. In Art of Animation, you're going to be looking at the family suites there. So that's sort of your outline of what can accommodate 5 or more. And I know that you don't technically need to have a room that accommodates 5, but maybe that will give you some kind of things to think about when you're thinking about the number of beds and all of that you need.
She came back. She says they're thinking deluxe. So I would look at something like Yachter Beach Club, something like that. That's going to give you the trundle bed, the day bed option. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, because I like even Boardwalk. I like Boardwalk too. Ricky, what would you say real quick? Boardwalk's fun. I just like that area. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking that area tonight. I've been looking at menus at Trattoria El Forno, so that's why I'm in that area. I'm in the mood for lasagna
That makes
right
sense.
now. I know, dude. That's the stupidest reason ever, but I like that lasagna at Trattoria El Forno's calling my name. Anyway, that's
That
great.
area is a great area to consider. I was actually talking to my boss today too, and I have Polynesian on the brain, so because I was trying to convince him to stay Polynesian. So there's that option too. But I don't know. I think that would be another choice. It's just you got to think about, and the one thing I don't know is like what kind of bed the 2-year-old is sleeping in. Like my 2-year-old still sleeps in a crib, so I have a crib delivered to the room. Or obviously a pack and play as well as an option. So if you need that type of space as well, you're going to need extra room. The better if, in that situation. Otherwise, if the 2-year-old needs its own, that's going to throw a little bit of a wrench into things too. So I don't know that. But I would just keep in mind if you're going to use a crib to go a little larger, have a little larger space.
Absolutely. Well, have a good time, Nicole, and have a fun time celebrating that birthday. All right, Aaron's got a question. Says, hey, BOGP crew. First off, let me thank you for your continued positive vibes and fueling my Disney addiction. I've been trying to reconcile the seemingly inconsistencies occurring in Frontierland. I was hoping you could help me with that. I'm able to accept the Cars Land as part of Frontierland by telling myself that it is no longer an area that can be perceived solely as the Wild West, which existed primarily in the late 1800s, but rather the characters of the Cars movie could be seen as touring an area in the West in which the last vestiges of the Wild West still linger. But how would you reconcile Tiana's Bayou being part of Frontierland? Louisiana is part of the central U.S. at best, and technically part of the Southeast. Perhaps I'm just overthinking that, but then again, isn't that what we Disney fans do? Please help me banish this logic from my mind so that I can fully embrace the fantasy of Disney. Thanks, Aaron. So what do you think to the thematic changes coming to Frontierland and all that? What would you say to Aaron trying to keep the thematic elements all tied together with, the rivers of America going away, cars flying around there in a dirt track? What would you? I'm just to the point where I honest to God, like here's what I say to this stuff anymore. I just want to have fun, and I just I understand because I do like theme. Trust me, like I deep down in my soul, because I'm getting older and I'm more about the theme and less about the attractions. I say I would like if Disney asked me, I mean, and they don't, and they won't, and I understand what they're doing. Because they need more capacity for more stuff to happen. And I get that Tom Sawyer Island and Rivers of America is not like, they're not getting ROI in that land. I understand it from a business perspective and I know why they're doing it. But but if money were no object, I'd say keep the river, keep the boat, keep the island. That'd be me. But I know it's not, I know like that's old man, like get off my lawn kind of stuff. Because I'm ambiance. But I mean, I look at Epic Universe and what do they have? They have big lakes and fountains. Dude, it looks awesome. Like, dude, that's exactly
true.
People are losing their minds over lakes and fountains and stuff like that. Is not
water.
The same thing. Water. I know. It's like, okay, what are we doing here? Anyway,
yes.
not to say that. I understand. Like, and that's what got me into the whole thing was this connection of theme. Like Disney's so good at like telling the story through theme. Aaron's exactly right. He's exactly right. He's exactly right. But at this point, I just try to enjoy myself as best I can and try not to connect every single dot like I used to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ricky, what do you say to this?
It is tough. Because really, honestly, it's not a cohesive theme. And maybe that's, I want to say maybe the plan is to change things up even more. Maybe it won't be Frontierland when all is said and done. Maybe it will have 2 separate names. Maybe the Tiana section will be, the Bayou, and the Cars section and Big Thunder will be kind of a Frontierland, Frontier World. I don't know, whatever kind of situation, Old West or, West, I don't know, something along those lines. But something tells me we might see a change and maybe an addition of a land or something along those lines. I can't say that things will remain the same, and we're going to get a villain's land So that's going to be another additional land that we didn't have before. So I don't think that we should be too stuck right now on the fact that it's Frontierland, because I don't necessarily think it's going to be Frontierland for very much longer. I think it's going to morph. That's my opinion. So
I think that makes total sense. I mean, you could make it like the Colorado Highlands, you know, where Tom Sawyer Island used to be, or, you know, something like that. Pam, what do you think about all this?
I think when I'm there, I sort of have to suspend a lot of beliefs. And so this one is not one that I have that much trouble, you know, sort of suspending. Like, I just am. I'm like, okay, this is where Disney feels like this goes. I'm gonna just roll with it in that space. You know, it just sort of over the years, I really hope that things continue to change. I mean, that was one of the things that Walt said, like, we're never gonna be done, it's never gonna be complete. And so I like the parts of Frontierland that sort of really lend itself to Frontierland, but I'm not sure that, you know, all of the things ever really worked in any of the lands when you really think about it. Like, there was always some incongruency or, you know, some incongruent things there. And I think I'm so excited about the things that are happening that I'm like, I'll just put that aside. So maybe it's just a very elementary way of looking at it, but I just am not really bothered by that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like the hardcore Disney fan, which, I mean, I'm pretty hardcore, right? I mean, this is what I've done with my life, you know, podcasts, I work and travel. I mean, I'm pretty much in. I get that you got to really buy into the theme, but I mean, think about it. They've just added a DVC lounge into Frontierland. You know what?
Right.
So they've taken out the shooting gallery. So things are morphing and changing. So you just have to roll with the changes. But
and
I think
of
one
course,
of the
they
things,
changed Country Bear Jamboree too, and you know, apparently it's more popular
and
than
it's
ever.
more popular than it used to be. I know people
Yeah.
are people are liking it better than the old show. You know, from what we're hearing. I mean, consistently we're hearing that. But I think one of the things going up against it is it's butted up against Liberty Square, which Liberty Square is probably one of the most authentic lands anywhere. Like
Oh,
it
yeah,
is.
for
I mean,
sure.
that is. But like Len says, I mean, Len has a good point here. He's over on YouTube. Like, how much is Tomorrowland about tomorrow?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
and
about
with the addition, the updates to Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger Spin, it's even less about tomorrow. You know, less about space.
it's
and
about
tomorrow,
perceived
so-
tomorrow. It's about science
Yeah.
fiction tomorrow, which works because, you know, and this is the problem of Future World over at Epcot. You cannot keep up with the pace. I mean, think about Chat GPT and stuff like that coming out right now and AI. I mean, like, you can't write a book about that because you can't. You have to do stuff online if you're gonna, you know, publish any news about any kind of technology at this point, because as soon as you put, you know, pen to paper, it's gone. It's outdated. And I mean, think about if you're trying to, you know, bend steel to anything like that. Forget it. It's over. You know, you can't do Future World at this point. I mean, I mean, you can do Future World, but it has to be in a retro kind of.
Well, that's why it's called World
form.
Discovery now.
Yes.
You know, and World Nature, and you know, all like it's and World Celebration. It's not Future World anymore. They saw that you can't predict the future anymore as easily. So let's change the names and make the themes a little more cohesive in that way. And I think they've done it by changing the names. Now I know we'll never get used to them, but I still think they've done
can't.
it.
I know. I still use Future World because Future World is like the perfect name, right? I mean, it's like World Showcase in Future World, like they worked so perfectly, right? I mean, it's like a celebration of the future, whether it's, I know it's not the future, but it kind of, you know, it was a showcase of what, and I know it's not anymore but the seas, the land, you know, motion, and I guess, you know, health and all that didn't happen anymore, but you had energy. Well, now you got a cool roller coaster. I don't know
Yes.
what it was, but and I still think we need to celebrate the future, right? In Tomorrowland. I still think we need to celebrate tomorrow, but I don't think we can make it literal anymore, right? I think we need to make it a celebration of like the human spirit of what tomorrow is. And you have to be very pliable at our demonstrations of that, Pam. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think it needs to be like, kind of like how Spaceship Earth is. It's a hopeful goal of tomorrow, but you can't put like back in the 80s, you know, they were demonstrating computers and
Yes.
stuff wasn't moving as fast. Stuff is so, in technology is not going to let their product out there anymore. It's too cutthroat.
It's sort of like the spirit of that, perhaps, is maybe what we're celebrating instead of the literal meaning. And I often go back to, there was a sort of a quote that Eisner did when he opened up Hollywood Studios that was like, we're going to celebrate the Hollywood that never was and always will be. Like, that's sort of where we're at with all of these different lands and parks and things like that. I mean, it was really, so what was so interesting is we actually, Hannah and Steve and I last night, I had a DVD of the original Living Seas, right? When it opened and all of that. And we were watching it and there were the hydrolators and like the whole thing. And I can remember as a kid seeing that and thinking what a cool thing that was. And this was actually video of people like entering the hydrolators and everything else. There were so many things that stood out to me, but just that people got into this elevator where there were bubbles going up the window and they bought into it.
100%. I mean, the hydrolators were, I mean, but it was telling a story, right? I mean, it was a method that transported you from one part of the story to the next part of the story. And it was so dang believable. I mean, it was like the elevator at Disney Quest, like when the genie would take it.
Yes.
I mean, that was such good Disney storytelling. It was amazing.
It was, but today people would have gotten in that and laughed at it because
I don't care that those people need to get out of my park then, because that stuff is awesome. Like, you don't belong to be in here. If you're laughing at that stuff, get out. You got to.
But you know that's what it is. So it's just the fact that people bought into that. And here was the other thing. Speaking of the way that the guests sort of perceive things and changes. So, you know, you entered what was essentially a large elevator and, you know, it looked like you were going down and then you basically walked out the back of it, right?
Sea-Base Alpha, baby.
Yes. So, there did not need to be a cast member at each one of the hydrolators telling people to get on and then closing. You know, that would never fly now.
Heck no.
If there's ever an entry point or anything, there's like multiple cast members there. You have to, because people act like dum-dums in the park. Like there wasn't one that had to be like, okay, now you can get in. Okay, is everyone in? Are your hands all in? And like, and that one to me was really shocking too. There was one booth in the middle. There would be an announcement over the loudspeakers. When it opened, people got on. When it wasn't open, they waited until it was their turn to get on, and they didn't cross the line or anything else. So I was just
how do we make it? I mean, it's a miracle. We were smarter back in the 80s, apparently.
So anyways, just so many different things I was looking at.
All right, so real quick, it's one of our listeners over on Instagram says, not a fan of the DVC sales station over in Canada either. She says, feels a little disrespectful to Canada. You know, I get it. They're trying to sell DVC in the parks. It's a fine line Disney's walking there, because everybody got excited and thought, hey, man, maybe we're getting something cool in Canada in the theme park. And then it's something for DVC sales. I am not happy.
It was a weird choice because they have like a mock-up room.
I know.
Like,
I thought it was going to be something cool.
That's bizarre. Like, you got a mock room that you built in Canada.
I know.
Okay.
Could have been something so cool.
That was a choice, I guess.
I was like,
maybe they're going to change the Canada song.
My hope is that, like, in the future, once they don't want, exactly. They decide, hey, let's update this area again. Maybe we'll end up eventually getting something cool in that space. But as of right now, I'm like, you built a whole.
You know, when they're building this thing, like, people stop speculating on this is going to be something so cool. It's going to be a DVC room.
It's going to be a DVC room.
This is going to be worse than when we announced this is going to be so bad. Stop.
You know, we all thought that the stations in Tomorrowland, you know, were
cabanas.
Weird. Yeah, the cabanas. This just took the cake, I feel like, but okay.
I know, right? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think might be speaking to the sales performance of the latest DVC resorts, but
Again, I think that may also be correct.
If they have it like at the exits of the parks next, that'll be a tell.
And then the fact that they're building more DVC, and you're just like,
yes, when they haven't even
trouble?
sold out Alani yet.
No, like you're having trouble selling out the ones you have. Why are you building another one?
Uh,
Just build a regular hotel at that point. Stop making everything DVC. Yeah. Okay.
All right, last quick question, because we got to get this wrapped. It says it's from Steven. Hello, Ricky, Pam, Mike, and Scott. This Mother's Day, my wife will be celebrating Mother's Day at Disney World with myself and our 2 adult children. Is there any way I can find special events, treats, or the like on the Disney website? Or can you tell me of some of these special offerings I can find for her? My kids obviously would like to make this trip special for their mom. So again, this is our little PSA that we do every year about Mother's Day. Ricky, I'll let you give it.
Disney is terrible about posting things for like events like this. They will not have anything posted except for maybe like a week or 2 before Mother's Day if they post anything. So they are really bad about these kind of things. So I would say book a meal she's gonna like and go with that. Because the chances of them, they're not gonna have huge announcements of, events and things like that for Mother's Day. They usually don't. So,
but a lot of times,
same for Father's Day.
A lot of times, our restaurants will do something like on the menu for mom, right? They'll have some.
They might. Mom's they might.
Special.
But it's select restaurants, and again, they won't put that out until maybe a week or so before Easter.
Yes.
Before Mother's Day. So by then, it's like, well, that was useless.
Why do they?
So,
yeah, they every year. It's like.
Every year.
2 days before. Hey, guess what? We're celebrating Mother's Day. Guess what? We have Mother's Day every year. Why can't you tell us?
Same thing is for Easter. Like they don't ever put out like this restaurant's having Easter dinner or Christmas. They don't put out this restaurant's having Christmas dinner. They just don't. Like you kind of, some will put it out there. Like if you search Easter or Mother's Day, and like some restaurants will have on there, hey, we're having a Mother's Day brunch or whatever. By select restaurant, even like it's not even. It's so bizarre how they do it. I don't understand. So
sorry, moms. They should do better. We love you. We love our moms.
They should just do better for all of the holidays. But it's like when they don't give us this information in advance, it makes you think, did they forget? Are they not?
Do they forget? Like for the last 20 years, every year we have Mother's Day, and dads don't care, dude. Dads just give them some
Christmas
wings.
And Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't care. We don't care. All right, we're going to wrap this one. We're going to be back on Friday. I'm super excited because we got the whole crew here. We got a great show going along with the Masters, a tradition like no other. It's going to be awesome. So come on back for Friday's show. We're talking food. We're not really talking golf, but it's going to be golf adjacent. Going to be fun. So come on back. You're going to love it. But don't come hungry. It's going to be a good show. All right, our show's always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you get to your favorite Disney destination right now to help plan that trip. No additional cost to you. All you got to do, type in the website, the address, magicforless.com. Easy. You can type it in less than 2 seconds. I do it all the time. Magicforless.com. The website comes up. It's a beautiful website. It's got all the destinations. You want to go to Alani? There's a Alani section on there. Scott loves that section, by the way, because he's been wearing all of his Hawaiian stuff. Every time I talk to the dude, Shaka. I'm like, dude, stop shocking me. He shakas me all the time. I'm like, just say hi. No, Shaka. He shakas me all the time now because he was over in Alani. I know he secretly just wants to be back in Alani because I just love doing that to him. But Alani's there, cruise line, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, even Adventures by Disney. You want to go there, we'll help you get there. No additional cost to you. So check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do. It's over at beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And also please become a patron of the show. That supports our podcast. It lets us do all this, the video hosting, the podcast hosting, the website. And it's just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd love to have you at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media. I'm at beourguestmike. Ricky's at Ricky Nibs. Pam's at TMFLT Pam. You can follow Scott at EpScott. And we'll have a live show this Sunday night on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. That'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. In all those places, you can give us a call and let's talk Disney. And finally, join us in the Clubhouse, beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. That's our Discord server where the conversation goes 24/7. We want to see you there. All right. So for Ricky and Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.